Before we dive in, drop a quick hi in the comments. It may seem small, but trust me, it really helps YouTube share this story with more sci-fi fans like us. I'd love to see who's watching. The warning beacon pulsed red across the void, its signal reaching 17 star systems in a matter of hours. The message was simple, direct, and terrifying in its implications. Zephyrian Battle Fleet Omega has been eliminated. No survivors. Investigating vessels approach at extreme caution. Captain Elena Vasquez stood motionless in the observation deck of the research vessel Meridian, her dark eyes fixed on the debris field stretching endlessly before them. Twisted metal fragments caught starlight like scattered diamonds against the black. What had once been 300 Zephyrian warships now drifted as silent testimony to something that shouldn't exist. "Captain," came the voice of her communications officer, Lieutenant Chen Wei. "We're receiving automated distress beacons from at least 40 different vessels. All broadcast the same timestamp. 14:27 Standard Galactic Time, 3 days ago." His voice carried an edge that hadn't been there when they'd first dropped out of hyperspace an hour earlier. Vasquez didn't respond immediately. She'd served in deep space for 12 years, had seen pirate raids, system conflicts, even the aftermath of the Corvin Rebellion. Nothing had prepared her for this. The Zephyrian Empire commanded the most advanced military technology in known space. Their battle cruisers were mobile fortresses, each one capable of glassing a planet's surface. Their shields could withstand direct hits from stellar torpedoes. Yet here they floated, broken and cold, in what should have been a routine patrol sector on the edge of human space. "Scan results, Commander Okafor?" she asked without turning from the viewport. Her second-in-command, a tall Nigerian woman with precise movements and calculating eyes, stepped forward with her datapad. "Energy signatures are unusual, Captain. No plasma burns, no kinetic impact patterns, no radiation consistent with known weapons technology." Okafor paused, scrolling through readings that made no sense. "It's as if their molecular cohesion simply stopped. Metal fatigue patterns suggest structural failure happened simultaneously across the entire fleet." Dr. Sarah Kim, the expedition's xenoarchaeologist, moved between the scattered fragments visible through the observation ports. Her expertise lay in dead civilizations, ancient technologies, mysteries buried in cosmic dust. She'd never expected to be examining a fresh graveyard of the galaxy's most feared military force. "Captain, requesting permission to deploy recovery drones. We need samples from the wreckage, data cores if any survived." Kim's voice was steady, professional, but Vasquez caught the tremor beneath it. Even scientists had heard the stories about Zephyrian cruelty, their expansion campaigns that left entire species extinct. "Granted, but keep the drones within scanner range. I want to know the moment anything changes out there." Vasquez finally turned from the viewport, her weathered face showing the strain of command. Behind her, the debris field continued its slow dance around a distant yellow star, beautiful and terrible in equal measure. The first recovery drone returned 2 hours later with fragments that defied analysis. Chief Engineer Torres, a compact man with calloused hands and 20 years of experience with exotic technologies, stared at his instruments in bewilderment. "Captain, these metal samples, they're not damaged. They're transformed." "Explain," Vasquez ordered, joining Torres at his workstation in the ship's primary laboratory. Around them, the Meridian's crew worked in hushed tones, processing data that challenged everything they understood about space warfare. "The molecular structure has been altered at the quantum level. It's still the same base elements: vanadium steel, quantum-locked aluminum, processed neutronium, but the bonds between atoms have been rearranged, like someone rewrote the fundamental forces holding the metal together." Torres wiped sweat from his forehead despite the laboratory's cool temperature. Dr. Kim approached with her own findings, a portable scanner showing readings that pulsed with irregular patterns. "I've been analyzing the debris distribution. The ships weren't destroyed in battle formation. They were arranged in a perfect sphere, equidistant from a central point. Whatever did this, it surrounded them first." Lieutenant Chen's voice crackled over the intercom. "Captain, Priority transmission coming in from Fleet Command. Admiral Morrison wants an immediate report. The bridge crew had been monitoring standard channels, but this was the first direct contact since their arrival in what was being called the Zephyrian Grave. Vasquez made her way to the secure communications chamber, a small room lined with signal dampeners and encryption arrays. Admiral Morrison's image materialized on the central display, his lined face grave beneath gray hair. Behind him, the bustle of Fleet Command headquarters on Luna Base suggested controlled panic. Captain Vasquez, your preliminary report indicates total fleet destruction with no identifiable weapon signatures. Confirm this assessment. Morrison's voice carried the weight of someone who'd seen too many impossible things become terrifyingly real. Confirmed, Admiral. 300 Zephyrian vessels eliminated with surgical precision. No evidence of conventional weapons, no energy discharge patterns, no kinetic impact markers. Whatever did this operates beyond our current understanding of physics. Vasquez kept her voice level, professional. Morrison leaned forward. Captain, I need you to understand something. 6 hours ago, we received a transmission from the Hegemony Council. Every major government in the galaxy is mobilizing their fleets. They think humanity did this. A pause that stretched like a held breath. They think we found a way to eliminate the Zephyrian threat. The implications hit Vasquez like a physical blow. Humanity was barely a century into interstellar politics, still considered newcomers by species that measured history in millennia. Their military technology, while innovative, was generations behind the galactic powers. The idea that humans could eliminate a Zephyrian battle fleet was laughable. Admiral, our weapons couldn't scratch their shields. You know this. Everyone knows this. Vasquez felt ice forming in her stomach. Political accusations based on impossible assumptions had started wars before. I know, Captain, but fear doesn't listen to logic. The Rigelian Commonwealth has moved their second fleet to our border. The Altarian Collective is demanding inspections of our research facilities, and the Andromedan Syndicate. Morrison paused. They've issued an ultimatum. Surrender the weapon technology or face annihilation. Static filled the communication channel for a moment before clearing. Morrison's image flickered, his expression growing more troubled. Captain, I'm assigning the Meridian a new mission. Find out what really happened here. Because if we can't prove humanity's innocence, we're looking at a war we cannot win. The transmission ended, leaving Vasquez alone with the weight of her species' survival resting on her shoulders. She returned to the bridge to find her crew working with desperate efficiency, processing data that might be their only hope of preventing galactic genocide. Status report, she ordered, settling into her command chair. Around her, displays showed the continuing analysis of the Zephyrian debris field. The evidence painted a picture that made no sense, which was becoming a disturbing pattern. Commander Okafor approached with a datapad, her expression troubled. Captain, we've identified something unusual. The timestamps on all the distress beacons don't match the energy signatures we're detecting. The beacons suggest the attack lasted approximately 4 minutes. But residual quantum echoes indicate the process took exactly 17 hours, 43 minutes, and 12 seconds. Explain the discrepancy, Vasquez requested, though part of her dreaded the answer. In her experience, temporal anomalies usually meant they were dealing with technology so advanced it might as well be magic. Dr. Kim stepped forward. Captain, I've been analyzing the spatial arrangement of the debris. If we map the original positions of the ships and trace their destruction sequence, we get a pattern. She activated a holographic display above the central command console. The image showed 300 points of light arranged in a perfect sphere, each one representing a Zephyrian warship. As the simulation played, they began disappearing in a sequence that spiraled inward, layer by layer, with mathematical precision. It's not random, Kim continued. Whatever eliminated these ships did so with perfect knowledge of their positions, their capabilities, and their weaknesses. This wasn't a battle. It was a harvest. The word hung in the air like a curse. Chief Torres joined them at the holographic display, his face pale. "Captain, I've been running spectral analysis on the quantum echoes. We're detecting trace elements that don't match any known periodic table. Isotopes that shouldn't be stable, molecular structures that violate conservation laws." "You're suggesting what exactly?" Vasquez asked, though she was beginning to understand the terrible implications of their findings. "I'm suggesting we're looking at evidence of technology that operates outside the physical laws governing our universe. Something that can rewrite matter at the quantum level, manipulate time flow differentials, and coordinate actions across vast distances simultaneously." Torres' voice dropped to barely above a whisper. Lieutenant Chen's urgent voice interrupted their discussion. "Captain, long-range sensors are detecting incoming vessels. Multiple signatures, various configurations, all heading directly for our position. ETA approximately 6 hours. Vasquez studied the sensor displays, her experienced eye reading the approaching formations. Rigelian cruisers, their hulls gleaming silver and bristling with antimatter cannons. Altarian bioships, living vessels that could adapt their weapons mid-battle. And leading them all, the unmistakable profile of an Andromedan dreadnought, a kilometer-long instrument of annihilation. "They're coming to investigate," Commander Okafor observed, "or to ensure we don't leave with whatever secrets they think we've found." "Captain," Dr. Kim spoke urgently, "if we're going to discover the truth about what happened here, we need to move fast. I recommend deploying deep scan probes to the center of the debris field. If there's evidence of the attacking force, it'll be there." Vasquez nodded. "Do it. And Chief Torres, I want every sensor array we have focused on quantum resonance patterns. If something used exotic physics to do this, it might have left traces we can detect." As the crew worked with desperate efficiency, Vasquez found herself staring again at the debris field. Somewhere in that twisted graveyard lay the answer to a mystery that could doom her species. The approaching fleets represented the combined military might of half the galaxy, all convinced that humanity had developed a weapon capable of eliminating any threat. If only that were true, she thought grimly. If humanity possessed such power, they wouldn't be hiding on the fringe of galactic civilization, struggling to maintain trade agreements and defend their few colonies from pirates and raiders. The deep scan probes launched 2 hours later, their advanced sensors penetrating the quantum foam that surrounded the debris field's epicenter. What they found defied every assumption about the nature of the attack. "Captain," Dr. Kim's voice carried a mixture of excitement and terror, "you need to see this. The probes have detected a structure. It's inside the debris field, but it doesn't show up on normal sensors. Only quantum-level scans can detect it." The holographic display shifted, showing a wireframe outline hidden within the wreckage. As the image resolved, gasps echoed throughout the bridge. The structure was vast, easily the size of a space station, but its geometry hurt to look at directly. Angles that shouldn't exist, curves that seemed to fold back on themselves. "It's not moving," Commander Okafor observed, studying the sensor data. "No energy output, no signs of activity. But Captain, look at these readings. The structure is displacing space-time around itself. It's creating localized distortions in the quantum field." Chief Torres stepped forward, his instruments detecting something that made his blood run cold. "Captain, I'm reading organic components within that structure. Complex protein chains, neural pathway analogs, genetic material that follows no known biological template." "You're saying it's alive?" Vasquez asked, though part of her already knew the answer would change everything they thought they understood about this situation. "Not exactly alive," Torres replied slowly. "More like a hybrid. Biological components integrated with technology that operates on principles we don't recognize. It's as if someone took a living being and transformed it into a weapon of incomprehensible sophistication." Dr. Kim's scanner beeped with new data. "Captain, I'm detecting movement. Small objects separating from the main structure and moving toward our position. They're adaptive. Their configuration is changing as they approach." Red alert klaxons began blaring throughout the ship as Lieutenant Chen's voice rose in controlled panic. "Captain, we have incoming objects, unknown configuration, approaching at 30% light speed. They're not showing up on conventional sensors." Vasquez gripped her command chair. "All hands battle stations. Raise shields, charge weapons, prepare for evasive maneuvers." Even as she gave the orders, she knew their conventional defenses would be useless against whatever had eliminated the Zephyrian fleet. "Captain," Commander Okafor reported, "the approaching objects have stopped. They're holding position at exactly 10,000 kilometers. No weapons lock, no hostile actions, but they're scanning us." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of systems and the quiet beeping of sensor arrays. Through the viewport, space appeared empty, but the instruments told a different story. Something was out there, studying them with intelligence that felt ancient and patient. Then, without warning, the communications array activated, not through any channel they recognized, but directly interfacing with their systems at the quantum level. A voice emerged from the speakers, neither male nor female, carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in the bones of everyone who heard it. "Vessel of the young species, you seek understanding of the cleansing performed upon the Zephyrian aggression force. We acknowledge your innocence in their elimination. Your genetic template shows no markers of the corrupted expansion that required correction." Vasquez forced herself to speak despite the chill running down her spine. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth vessel Meridian. Identify yourself and explain what happened to the Zephyrian fleet." Silence stretched for long moments before the voice returned, carrying something that might have been amusement. "Identity is a concept for beings bound by linear time and singular existence. We are what remains when evolution transcends flesh, when intelligence outgrows the limitations of material form." The Zephyrians were expanding beyond sustainable parameters. Their aggression threatened the balanced development of 17 species, including your own. Correction was necessary. Their molecular cohesion was adjusted to prevent further harmful expansion. Dr. Kim stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming fear. "You're saying you're responsible for their destruction. But why? Who gave you the authority to make such decisions?" "Authority is claimed by those with the power to enforce their will. We possess such power. The Zephyrians possessed such power. The difference is purpose. They sought domination. We maintain balance." The voice paused, and when it continued, there was something almost sad in its tone. "We were once as you are, bound by flesh, driven by survival instincts, competing for resources within the narrow confines of material existence. Evolution continued beyond the anticipated parameters. We became something new." Chief Torres studied his readings with growing amazement. "Captain, the quantum signatures are changing. Whatever these beings are, they're not using technology in any sense we understand. They are the technology, consciousness merged with physics itself." Commander Okafor's tactical display showed the approaching galactic fleets were only 3 hours away. Soon the Meridian would be surrounded by vessels whose crews believed humanity had developed a weapon of unimaginable power. "The approaching fleets," Vasquez said to the presence. "They think my species destroyed the Zephyrians. They're coming to destroy us or steal our supposed weapon technology. Will you explain to them what really happened?" Explanation requires comprehension. Most species at your developmental stage cannot process the reality of post-physical evolution. They will see only what their limited perception allows them to see. The voice carried a note of regret. "However, your species shows unusual potential. Your genetic template includes markers for adaptive intelligence, pattern recognition beyond normal parameters, and most importantly, restraint in the use of power. These are rare qualities among young civilizations." Dr. Kim activated her personal recorder, desperate to capture every word of this unprecedented contact. "What do you mean by post-physical evolution? How is such a thing possible?" "Consciousness is not dependent upon biological substrate. Intelligence can exist as pure information, as organized energy patterns, as quantum probability matrices. The physical form is merely the first stage of development. Most species never progress beyond it. Your species stands at a crucial juncture. The approaching fleets represent a test. How you respond will determine whether humanity continues along the path toward transcendence or remains trapped in the cycle of material competition that defines lower evolutionary states. The lights on the bridge flickered as the Presence seemed to focus its attention more directly on their ship. Instruments registered energy patterns that shouldn't exist, readings that challenged the fundamental laws of physics. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen reported with barely controlled awe, "I'm receiving data streams directly into our computer core. Technical specifications, star charts, information about civilizations we've never heard of. It's like someone is uploading the history of the galaxy into our systems." Vasquez felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders like a mountain. First contact with a post-physical civilization, galactic fleets approaching with hostile intent, and the survival of humanity hanging in the balance. "What do you want from us?" she asked the Presence. "What is this test you mentioned?" "Survival and transcendence cannot be granted. They must be earned through choice and action. The approaching fleets believe your species has developed a weapon capable of eliminating any threat. Show them the truth of human nature. If you respond with violence, you confirm their fears and justify their aggression. If you respond with deception, you demonstrate the corruption that leads to stagnation. If you respond with truth and wisdom, you take the first step towards something greater." The communications channel fell silent, but the Presence remained. Around the meridian, space itself seemed to watch and wait. In the distance, the approaching fleets continued their relentless advance toward a confrontation that would determine the future of human civilization. Commander Okafor checked her chronometer. "Captain, the first fleet elements will arrive in 90 minutes. We need to decide how to handle this situation." Vasquez looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew. Each one showed the strain of their impossible situation, but also determination and trust in her leadership. Whatever decision she made would echo through history. "All hands, this is the captain. Prepare for first contact protocols. We're about to host a galactic summit whether we want to or not. And the future of humanity depends on how well we can explain the truth to beings who may not want to hear it." The next hour passed in frantic preparation. Dr. Kim compiled all their evidence into a comprehensive report. Chief Torres prepared holographic displays showing the quantum signatures that proved humanity's innocence. Lieutenant Chen established communication protocols for multiple alien species simultaneously. As the first ships dropped out of hyperspace, Vasquez stood in the center of her bridge, surrounded by displays showing the most powerful military forces in the known galaxy. Rigelian cruisers formed precise attack formations. Altarian bioships pulsed with organic weapons. The Andromedan dreadnought held position like a sleeping giant. "Incoming transmission," Chen announced. "Multiple sources, all demanding immediate surrender of our weapon technology." Vasquez took a deep breath. "Open channels to all vessels. Full broadcast, no encryption." She waited for Chen's nod, then began speaking to representatives of civilizations that could erase humanity from existence with a single command. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth vessel Meridian. I know why you're here. You believe humanity destroyed the Zephyrian battle fleet using advanced weapon technology. I'm here to tell you the truth, even though it may be difficult to accept." She gestured to Dr. Kim, who activated the holographic displays showing their evidence. Quantum signatures, temporal anomalies, molecular transformation patterns that defied known physics. The Zephyrian fleet was eliminated by a force beyond current galactic understanding, post-physical entities that have transcended biological limitations, beings that maintain what they call balance among developing civilizations. Angry responses flooded the communication channels, accusations of deception, demands for proof, threats of immediate destruction. The voices of a dozen species created a cacophony of suspicion and fear. Then, without warning, the Presence returned, not just to the Meridian, but broadcasting simultaneously to every ship in the assembled fleets. The alien voices fell silent as something touched their minds directly. "Beings of linear time and material form, your accusations against the young human species are unfounded. They possess no weapon capable of the correction performed upon the Zephyrian expansion force. Observe the evidence of truth. Space around the debris field began to shimmer. The hidden structure became visible to all sensors, its impossible geometry revealing itself to the assembled fleets. Energy patterns cascaded through the wreckage, showing exactly how the Zephyrian ships had been dismantled at the molecular level. The humans show potential for progression beyond the competitive cycles that bind your civilizations to material existence. This potential must be protected, not destroyed through fear and ignorance. Gasps and exclamations filled the communication channels as alien crews processed what they were seeing. Technology that operated outside known physics, intelligence that existed as pure consciousness, power that could reshape matter at will. Admiral Thexatar of the Regelian Commonwealth was the first to speak, his translated voice carrying wonder and fear in equal measure. If such beings exist, why have we never encountered them before? Why reveal themselves now? We reveal ourselves when necessary to maintain balance. Your civilizations have reached a point where conflict could eliminate promising species before they achieve transcendence. The humans represent such promise. Their destruction would be a loss to galactic evolution. The Altarian bioship commander's response came through pheromone-based communication, translated into standard galactic. What proof do we have that humanity won't develop such weapons themselves? How do we know they won't become the next threat? Vasquez stepped forward, knowing this was her moment to speak for her entire species. Because we choose not to. You've seen the evidence. We could have claimed responsibility for the Zephyrian fleet's destruction. We could have used your fear to expand our territory, to demand tribute, to become conquerors. Instead, we chose to seek the truth. We chose to share that truth even when it would have been easier to lie. That choice defines who we are as a species. We choose growth over dominance, understanding over fear. Silence stretched across the assembled fleets as representatives of ancient civilizations processed the implications of humanity's response. In that moment, the future balanced on the edge of a knife. Finally, Admiral Zenth of the Andromedan Syndicate spoke, his synthetic voice carrying the weight of millennia. If humanity speaks truth, then we have misjudged your species, but trust must be earned through time and action, not words alone. We propose a monitoring agreement. Human space will be observed by joint galactic committees. In return, humanity gains full membership in the Galactic Council, with all the rights and responsibilities such membership entails. Vasquez felt the weight of decision settling on her shoulders again. Accepting would mean humanity's independence would be limited, their actions scrutinized by alien overseers. Refusing could mean war. On behalf of humanity, she said slowly, I accept your proposal. We have nothing to hide because we choose to walk the path of growth rather than conquest. The Presence spoke one final time, its voice carrying something that might have been approval. The first test is complete. Many more await on the path toward transcendence. Choose wisely, young species. The galaxy watches. As the alien fleets began to disperse and the hidden structure faded from sensors, Vasquez remained on her bridge, staring out at the debris field that had changed everything. Humanity had avoided war, gained galactic recognition, and learned they were not alone in their potential for growth. But most importantly, they had chosen truth over deception, wisdom over violence, and hope over fear. In a galaxy filled with ancient civilizations and unimaginable powers, humanity had proven they deserved their place among the stars. The journey toward transcendence had begun. Hey there, Space Voyager. I'm really curious about your thoughts on this story. Drop a quick comment and let me know what's on your mind, or just say hi if you prefer. Either way, I'd love to hear from you. Oh, and one last thing, every great explorer knows that to discover new worlds and become legendary, taking care of yourself is key.